Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at the League Store and primarily the Season Store to see what we can spend our Season tokens on. And we get Season tokens within faction leagues for placement, and in the first week the max you can get is 9,000 if you finish in the top sort of batch that go into Diamond promotion. You can get in Solo League milestones as well, and some people have got quite a lot of milestone points in there. You know, you're talking about 150, 200,000 points in there, but it's still not going to be able to afford anything spectacular after the first week. By week 2, week 3, people are going to be able to get enough of these season tokens to be able to afford the top sort of rewards. So in the store, you can see there are two sections. On the right hand side, there's the League Store, which is league locked. So if you're in Gold League, you can do Gold, Silver, Bronze. If you're in Platinum, you can do it all. If you're only in Bronze, you can only open the Bronze League Store. You can see everything else, you just can only buy things from that section. That's why no one can buy anything yet, because no one's in any of the leagues yet. We're still in seeding. On the Season Store on the left hand side, this is not league locked. This is available to everybody. Now there are 3 ascendable characters in here, 3 5-stars and 2 weapons. With 65 days left in the season, you can buy all of this stuff if you want. I think some people are going to be able to get enough points to be able to get pretty much everything. Or you could just buy sectional stuff, so you could say, you know, I like this character, I like that character, I like this weapon, and I'm going to save the rest of my season tokens because I'm pretty sure they'll roll over to the next season. Now we'll look at the weapons first. First up we have Ezekiel Sturdy SMG. It's not a great tier 3 special on this, but it has 30% HP, which is very rare. On weapons, especially alert weapons, I don't think there is actually an alert weapon with 30% HP. So this could be a pickup just because of that. I would replace the tier 3 on there though. One thing to mention, that is 6k points. It is quite expensive, and I'd probably go for the weapons lost. Now with the next weapon, 30% attack, stronger attack when attacking, a better chance to attack with the stronger trait against the enemy. That's pretty nice. I like this weapon quite a lot. It is quite expensive, and I would have really liked to see this on fast characters because fast does not have anything else except absolute defense. Whereas at least strong characters have stun on attack and AP down on defense, so they have at least 2 options, whereas fast characters don't really. They only have absolute defense pretty much. So it would have been nice to have a decent off trait or off like non-melee, like a ranged crit weapon, and I hope we do get that next season. Where I would have actually just said stronger attack for a fast weapon would be actually really nice, but it's going to be a strong weapon this time around. Hopefully next time around something changes. The 3 5-stars are Kate, Conrad and Priya from right to left. We have 2 of the best ever 5-stars in here, which is Priya and Conrad. Within the 5-star era, these guys were like the top-notch characters. And we have Kate, who is not deemed as good as the other 2, but right now I'd say she's much more useful than the other 2. The other 2 won't last long in raids. Priya potentially, if you geared her out correctly, she was behind the right leader, she had massive like defensive mods, she could get another, you know, she could potentially get another 1,000 defense, you know, she could stay alive a little bit, but the big problem with obviously of her is she's not going to have much stats, so she's going to be able to get one shot quite easily. She's going to rely heavily on absolute defense, and because she's already got stun on defense, you're probably not going to change that, so she's going to get insta hit. She's got nothing to block that. So you're going to heavily rely on the mods and the leader basically. When we look at Kate, the reason why she's the best is because of her rush. She gives focus for 2 turns, but the rest of her rush is really nice too. 50% attack and regain 30% of their max HP for every teammate for 2 turns. And the focus is the most important bit because she can help a team bypass shields. If you see me on my stream, I've done this a couple of times just to show you guys. It is really, really nice with Kate. She can have absolute defense weapons, so she can't get one shot like easily. She can just hold off a lot of damage, and she's got tenacity, so she 100%, even if she just gets mega rushed by someone who's got insane amount of damage, like she's never going to get one shot by that. She has to get attacked again, which can really save her, especially if her rush is already going off, because she'll heal the next turn and tenacity comes back into the game. So that's pretty nice. Now with the other 5-stars, Conrad's going to get one shot pretty much as a shield all the time. I come up against him a couple of times. Sometimes his weapon pops off with the absolute defense a couple of times, but by turn 2 you can do stun actives, easily take him out. You can confuse him and just make him useless if you just want to do that way. Or you can just, you only have to get lucky with one hit pretty much on a tough character and he's just going to get wiped. So that's the downside of him right now. The only potential I'd say in the future of picking him up is that he could become ascendable one day. And this could be the only time that he's easily available just in a store. 100% going to get him, for instance. But if you've already got one, definitely wouldn't pick him up. Priya, the same sort of situation. Not very useful within the 5-star world. It's a cool character to have. I probably am going to try and get her myself just because I think it's a cool character to have. But she is not going to be useful as a 5-star within raids, especially. She will be decent, you assume, if she ever become ascendable, and she has got a weapon as well, like I said before, where she's got stun on defense. Now we're going to look at the 3 main sort of rewards, and that's going to be Kelly, Ezekiel, and Mirabelle. Now Kelly is great that Kelly's in here, in my opinion, because I see a lot of people complaining on my stream chats, messaging me, asking me, is this a good team to build? And they don't have commands, and commands make such a big difference on attack. It's unreal. So we'll look at his rush. Deal 200% damage and taunt up to 2 enemies for 1 turn. This character gains 70% defense for 1 turn. Up to 2 teammates gain 30% AP. Now his rush is quite similar to 6-star Glenn's, who is also a command. He basically takes 2 characters and just basically makes it so they don't rush and don't do anything too ridiculous for 1 turn. And the biggest bonus here is, of course, taunt. There isn't much taunt resist in the game. People don't run taunt resist as much as they run confuse resist. I think more people are scared of Shiva's rush in terms of her confuse than they are scared of taunt, because obviously Glenn's rush confuses 2 people for 1 turn. Same sort of deal. Just takes 2 people out of the game potentially for 1 turn. But I think that's got more chance of being resisted. The fact that he gets 70% defense is nice, because obviously when he gets attacked, he's going to not take as much damage. 2 teammates getting 30% AP is actually pretty cool. I sort of thought about it in terms of if there's only 3 characters left, him and 2 others, and he could use his rush and they'd get their rushes, he's basically commanded both of them, because obviously he's just given them enough to get their rush, which is what you normally use command for. Someone does an attack, gets their rush, you then command them. That's how you normally use command. In terms of the active skill, it's AP gain. Same sort of situation. He could use the AP gain active to just give 2 people their rushes. Again, it's like commanding 2 people. But I'm not really a fan of this on defense. It generally goes off at bad times when it's not even going to give people their rushes, basically. In terms of his stats, it's pretty flat. I think it reminds me of 6-star Ezekiel in terms of just all round. He's going to do a bit of damage, going to do a bit of defense, do a bit of HP. Not spectacular, but he doesn't shine anywhere. He is called a support, so he's pretty much what he is a support character. Now the specialist skill, you all know how it works. Specialist skill command is really useful, especially on attack teams. If you don't have command already and you run melee characters, this is a very useful pickup for you. It doesn't have an attached weapon, so you can attach whatever weapon you already have crafted. So if you're like, I want to get this guy, but I don't have a good weapon, you can start working on a weapon right now. And you can get him in 2-3 weeks, whenever you get enough tokens, and you're sorted. Now the next 2 characters are the new ones in the list, and these 2 is the ones that probably are worth picking up for everybody if you can, just because this may be the only time they're in this wheel. When they're not even in a wheel, they're in a 100% chance of being able to acquire these characters. Now that after 65 days, the store could restock with different characters, which is quite likely. Maybe Mirabelle or Ezekiel could go down to this 3rd slot where Kelly is, but most likely this is going to be refreshed every 65 days, because if it's the same store for the next season, people are going to be mad, pretty obviously. I'd be pretty disappointed, no doubt. But there's not going to be anything to work towards. I'm not going to look at these characters and go, I want to do well this season to get this character. I want to do well this season to get that character. There's nothing to be working towards. So definitely, if you like the look of one of these characters, they're not likely to come up again. They could be in wheels in the future, though. We'll look at Ezekiel first, who's 15,000 tokens. Kelly was 12,000. But 15,000 tokens for Ezekiel. I like him quite a lot as a 6-star. Always look at the 6-star first lockdown. Always look at the 6-star. So look at his stats. He is a medic, so he's pretty much the same as Kelly in terms of his stats balance, but he's more geared towards the defensive stats in HP. Now his rush, 76 AP cost. Up to 3 teammates regain up to 40% of their max HP and get 40% bonus HP. All teammates recover from confuse and impair. I like both parts of this rush. Obviously, I prefer if it gave all teammates the HP and bonus HP buff, but you've got to take it. 3 characters getting it is really good. That's as strong as Erica's rush, you know, in terms of the heal. 40% base HP, 40% bonus HP. All teammates recover from confuse and impair. I actually think Erica's slightly weaker than that, maybe 35%. I have to check that. But all teammates recovering from confuse and impair is really nice as well, just as a bonus, but it just all helps. In terms of his active skill, it's recover bleed. I'm not a huge fan of recover bleed generally because I do see it go off when people are bleeding because of a mod, and it can be just literally 20 damage, which I don't care about. I'd rather him attack and get his, you know, his AP up for another rush, but that's just the way it is. That's my personal opinion on recover bleed. Leader skill is a mixed bag, but it can come with some dangers. All teammates get 30% HP, so that's every trait. And then all ranged teammates get 40% defense, so that's obviously tough and alert. So if you run a ranged team, you could have every ranged character behind Ezekiel and they get both of these buffs. If you ran like him as a leader, maybe 3 ranged characters and 1 melee character, let's say you only had a melee command or a melee shield, you could have the melee shield behind him and they get 30% HP. Now they won't get the second half of it, but he's a dangerous leader to attack because he could potentially have some, you know, a full melee team behind him, potentially. It's not likely because you're only getting one half of that leader skill, and it's the weaker half in terms of 30% compared to 40%. He is a decent range leader though, because he's almost the same as Erica. Erica's 40% HP, 40% defense on the lead, whereas he's 30% HP, 40% defense. So that's actually really nice. So we're getting a pretty decent lead skill for ranged characters here, and potentially a sneaky melee character can be snuck in every now and again, just to mess with people a little bit. I like him a lot. I think he's a good character. I like his rush, and he doesn't come with an attached weapon, so I think the SMG and the other weapon are going to be the sort of weapons that are associated with these two characters effectively. So the next up we have Mirabelle, who is the most expensive in the will. If you count her and her weapon, it's 35k, whereas if you count Ezekiel and his weapon, it's 21k. So it's nearly double for both. So that's pretty insane. I'm really happy that Mirabelle's been added though. She does a lot, mainly because of her leader skill, but we'll look at her rush first. She does a lot of damage. She's a damage dealer role. She has nearly 2k damage. She has decent HP, low defense, but her rush is basically the same as Tyrese in terms of it's a line attack. It doesn't do as much damage, but because it doesn't do as much damage, she gets something somewhere else. So she gets all teammates recover from attack penalties and gives 50% attack for 2 turns. I like that a lot. 50% damage to a line of enemies is also really strong. It's only a little weaker than Shiva's rush, and Shiva only can attack 1. So I don't mind this too much, but her main thing, of course, for me is what's still catching my eye is the leader skill. We'll look at the active though. AP up and AP gain. We've seen this quite a lot recently, where you can basically use the active skill. She'll get her rush, and then you can command her, and then she'll have an extra 40% damage, which is kind of good. 40% attack for 2 turns and gains 30% AP to self. Now the leader skill is what I was looking at, and what is really nice because it's the first melee leader. Considering how many melee leaders we've had, like, you know, in free-to-play especially, the Javis, the Vincents, you know, Carls, so many different melee leaders. This is the first one that actually has good attacking stats for both, you know, fast and strong. The best melee leader has probably been RTP Rick, Rise to Power Rick, but he only does fast, 40% attack, AP on attack. Next we had Abraham, who's a strong character, had 40% attack but had 36 crit. Crit is just more like a bonus in my opinion. I don't think you can run that as a leader. You're going to hit those Guardian Shields a lot, but other than that, I mean, having attack and a defensive stat in HP is awesome, because this is obviously identical to the Alert Mirabelle, and it works really well. Obviously, I use Alert Mirabelle, have used her for a very long time, and it works really well. So I'm really happy that this leader skill has come to melee characters. So those are all the rewards that you can get from the store. There's a lot of, you know, choice here. What catches your eyes in this store? You know, what are you looking at and going, I want that? I'm probably gonna get Ezekiel first in my ranged region. I like him quite a lot. He could be quite a nice ranged leader. I might get Mirabelle first in my melee region. I'm gonna have to think about it. She is very expensive, but I'm definitely gonna get both of them in both regions, just because it's good to have those characters available potential in the future. and they may not ever be available again. Like I said, I'm probably going to go for... I'm not going to go for Kelly in either region because I have Glenn in both regions, fortunately. I'm probably going to go for Priya in both regions, and I'm probably going to go for Conrad in one of my regions. Kate I do not need. I've got her in both regions, and the weapons... Unless I have a massive excess of tokens, I'm probably going to avoid those as well. But that's the end of this video, guys. Do tell me what you're going to go for, what you think of the store, and what you think of these characters. Thank you very much for tuning in, though, guys. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.